Today we're bourbon hunting in Northern Orange County.
All right, we just made it to Lucky One Liquor in Huntington Beach. So we went to the one in Mission Viejo in one of our first bourbon hunting videos, but now we're at the one in Huntington Beach. We'll see what they have.
Starting off, I pick up this bottle of High West Rendezvous Rye. This is a 2018 bottling with the older label, and it actually says that the barrel number is an 18H. I always grab these older label bottles because I heard that 17J and before had a lot of their really old Barton distillate in it. After that 17J, they switched to mostly younger MGP, so they're just not as special. I really want to find one of those old bottles eventually. Next to it, they had a campfire, and then I'm holding the Lucky One Cask Strength Bourbon pick for them from High West. Those are some of their new blue labels. Moving down below, we have Old Ezra 7-Year Bourbon and Rye for $75 each. I know a lot of you like hunting that. They also have Larceny Barrel Proof Bourbon B524 for $60. We also have the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof B524. Next to it is the PGA version for Elijah Craig. We got the Toasted Barrel for $52 and the Elijah Craig 18-Year for $240. They also have the Discontinued Bellmead Reserve for $70. Next to just the standard Michter's lineup. Tons of other bottles just all hidden in between here. Up top, we have these very old St. Nick bottles ranging from $140 to $200. Next to it with the Rare Perfection 14 and 15 year, all little crazy bottles. They also have the special edition Kentucky Owl Mardi Gras 11 year, not priced, but it's in the little special box. We have the standard rabbit holes next to the Yellowstone Special Edition for $170. Next to it, we have the whole lineup of Basil Hayden's, along with a whole Smoke Wagon lineup. And up top, we notice the Blue Run Flight Series single barrel for $112. That's definitely the cheapest we've seen on this bottle. Up top, we notice these Stone whiskeys. That's actually a beer company that we know local to us in San Diego. And we pulled this one down, not really sure what it means. It says on the back that it's distilled in Iowa, aged for at least 26 months. Not sure if their beer plays any part of it. I don't know if it's part of the distillate, it starts as the ale, or if it's aged in their beer barrels. But something weird going on with this bottle here. We have the standard for $65 and the cask strength for $97. We also have some unpriced Orphan Barrel bottles, the special one being that Rhetoric 21 bottle. That's a really cool bottle at 21 years old. We also see the standard Alberta Premium bottle for $25. We always recommend the cask strength, but we've never seen their standard bottling before. Next to it, we have these Clyde Mays bottles at the bottom. This is actually an 8-year cask strength bottling for $94. And I believe they contract this still at MGP, so it is MGP whiskey, but a little bit different, a little bit more special for them. 8-year barrel proof, that's not a bard price. Next to it are a couple other special edition Clyde Mays bottles that we just don't know a lot about. Moving over, we have some Broken Barrel from California. We have Bardstown. I actually pick up a Prisoner collaboration, which is kind of funny because High West has their own Prisoner collab, but they also do it with Bardstown apparently. They have the West Virginia Rye collab that we're not big fans of, and a Disco 8 for $140. Below it, we see the St. Cloud Abstract whiskey. It doesn't have a price, but we've heard really bad things about it before, so we're going to pass on this one. Let us know if you had a different experience, though.
They also had a ton of 4-gate expressions, like this Amberana finish for $233, which we've heard is delicious, but it's a little pricey for us. The other bottles were priced at $190, which is pretty good, including the Kelvin Collab 5, which we definitely contemplated getting, but we ultimately decided to put back. Should we have grabbed that one? Let us know. Below that are a good amount of Widow Jane bottles for $89 and $112, Baker 7 for $58, Old Overholt 10 for $94, tons of 1792, including some 12 years we couldn't find a price for, and a Sweet Wheat hiding in that second row for $72. They had some New Riff rye expressions, including the malted rye for $66 that we've been curious about trying. And to the left, a bunch of Redwood Empire, including the cask strength lineup, the core, and one of my new favorite bottles, Devil's Tower, their high rye bourbon mash bill. I got so excited because it's a batch 1, which is what we have, and we haven't tried the new batch 2, but we are definitely coming home with that for MSRP. They also have some really great Sagamore products like the 8-year, Double Oak, and bottled and bond ryes for $75, $60, and $70, right around what they should go for. Down here, they have the Knob Creek 10-year rye for $68, the Green River Wheated and Bourbon for $34 each, many of the Penelopes for good prices. They also have batch 7 of the Remus, Blanton's for $100, Weller Special Reserve for $70, Eagle Rare for $60, and E.H. Taylor Small Batch for $90. Overall, Lucky One has a great selection. The whole back wall of the store is whiskey, so it was really easy to browse and find some good stuff for fair prices. If you're in Huntington Beach, I highly suggest dropping in. They also had these 2022, 23, and 24 Booker's releases for $110 each. And behind us on the floor, like a little tater treasure chest, was some Blantons, well balanced I might add, and some E.H. Taylor Small Batch, Single Barrel, Eagle Rare, and a Weller Full Proof hiding in there. Some fun finds, but we didn't end up putting everything back as well as we possibly could and moved on.
At the very top of the bourbon aisle are all the really special bottles, B-Tax, Pappies, all that kind of stuff that you have to ask for the price for. And needless to say, these are out of our price range, so we're not going to bother with them too much, but they're always nice to see. Moving to behind the counter, this is where they have all their allocated bottles that they have prices on. And the way that Lucky One likes to do things is with these bundles. And so a lot of their bottles actually are pretty decent bottles. They'll come with things like Traveler or Michter's or stuff like that. But for example, they have for the E.H. Taylor lineup, they have small batch for $100, straight rye for $200, and single barrel for $230. They have all the Buffalo Trace koshers for $140 for each bundle, Eagle Rare for $60, and Elmer T. Lee for $250 in a bundle. We did ask prices on a few of the unmarked bottles, including Russell's Reserve 15 for $499, Jack Daniel's 10-year for $190, and Jack Daniel's 12-year for $230. Honestly, we really contemplated that Jack Daniel's 12-year because we really enjoy our 10-year batch 3. We just never got an opportunity to see the 12-year, and this is actually the lowest price that we've seen lately. Below that, we have Michter's 10-year bourbon and rye for $350 each in their bundles. The different barrel strengths and toasted Michter's for $300 each. And then we have the Four Roses limited edition for $500, along with Stag for $250. Below all of those, we have some different Weller bottles, including 107 for $150, CYPB for $500, Single Barrel for $600, and Blanton straight from the barrel for $300. All right, we just got Lucky One Liquors in Huntington Beach. We did walk away with a bottle. Yes. We got a Redwood Empire Devil's Tower for $100. And yeah, as Taryn said before, these were really available when they first came out, and they've been sold out everywhere else. And we've since tried it, grown to love it. So
yes, I love that
ended up
bottle.
getting a backup bottle. It's worth it for us. Kind of funny that last time when we were at the other Lucky One, we walked away with a Foggy Burl. So yes, Lucky One and Redwood Empire, yeah, it works for us. So on to the next store. All right, we went over to Corked in Buena Park, just down the road. We've never been to this shop before, but we've been to other Corked locations. So let's take a look at what they got.
Hopping right in, they have some Fox and Odin bottles from $50 to $95. The Philman bottles always stand out, and they have Bowman Brothers small batch for $35. Then some Hirsch bottles, some Texas whiskey, those gold bars, and some Pure Kentucky and Old Bardstown, all for $50. Then some Pinhooks for $60 and $40, and Evan Williams single barrel for $40. I got distracted by this fella, Bubba, because he looks pretty cool, but it's flavored whiskey, so we did pass. Jonathan got me back on track by pulling out this Griffin and Grain bottle for $25. It did say California bourbon whiskey, aged 5 years, and distilled, aged, and bottled in Modesto. So, interesting find, but ultimately we didn't go home with it. They also had the Penelopes, of course, in these red line bottles that we were excited to see because we definitely have not seen these a lot in our area. These were $110, so we didn't grab them, but let us know if that's a good pickup for next time. They also had Henry McKenna and this Bucking Bull bourbon from Texas, but it was just produced and bottled, so we didn't know where it was distilled. Down another shelf, there's some Bull Run from Oregon for $40 and $50. And scrolling back up, They had the 2XOs, Basil Hayden's up top, a couple New Riff for $55 and $60, Bibb and Tucker and the Green River Bourbon and Wheated for $35 and $40. They also had normal Buffalo Trace for $30. Some more standard bottles, and a rye from Frank August at the top. And the Von Payne Black, which is always a fun bottle to point out because of the distinct look, for $70. These shelter bottles have some really cool labels. They had an American single malt for $35 and a single barrel blue corn bourbon for $55, aged for 2 years.
Moving down, they have Benchmark Top Floor, Small Batch, and Single Barrel for $25 each. We also see Dirty Prospector Whiskey, which we have never seen before, have never heard of it even. Looking at the back, it is distilled in Long Beach, California, so pretty local to us, but the label does say it's only aged for 49 days at minimum. So we do find out these are single barrel picks, so maybe they were aged for a little bit longer. I would assume it has to be at least a few months, but probably not much older than that. They are $70 a piece, so that's just not the best value for us, but a really weird little bottle. Never knew actually anything got distilled in Long Beach, California. Kind of fun. We have some of the Redwood Empire bourbons and ryes. Got James E. Pepper Decanter for $65 next to the old version of James E. Pepper, 1776 bourbon. Moving down, we find a Elijah Craig Barrel Proof B521. This is actually the first batch of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof that we picked up several years ago. And yes, I checked all the way in the back to see if I found anything else, but they're all B521s. Moving down, we have some Bardstown. We've got Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Rye, the normal version, and a Single Barrel Barrel Proof for only $60. Pretty good price there. I also find a Platte Valley Corn Whiskey. Never heard of this bottle. It's $25, but I mean, just look at it. That's just kind of fun, novelty item. Sure, it doesn't taste amazing, but there's worse ways to spend $25. And up top, we actually have a Slipknot whiskey. Never thought I'd see that in my days. And it's actually Iowa whiskey distilled by Cedar Ridge. This is like a collaboration between them. This bottle goes for $90, so pretty pricey.
They also had 1792 and the Terry Bradshaw whiskey for $44. They also had this Bespoken Twice Toasted Rye for $50, which we don't know too much about, but we've heard good things and are curious to try Bespoken in the future. Some New Riff Rye. The Old Portrero from San Francisco for $65. The Maple Hill Rye from Oregon for $80, and the Bullet 12-Year Rye for $50, which we've heard really good things about. I always laugh at the hand barrels, so Jonathan had to show me that one. But overall, they have a pretty good selection of bourbon and rye here at Corked. Not screaming deals, but not bad either.
Right next to it, we've got the Bardstown Origin Rye for $75, along with the entire Redwood Empire Rye lineup for $35, $80, and $90 respectively. Up top, I pulled down a Barrel Bourbon 8-year Indiana pick. For 110 proof. This bottle is $100, so, that's pretty good for 8-year MGP whiskey. Right next to it, there was actually the Mizunara Cask Barrel Bourbon for $90. I also see a Four Roses OBSQ pick for $120. That's basically the going rate for Four Roses, so if that's a recipe you don't have, not a bad pickup there. We see a few other of their barrel picks, Old Elk, Remus, we got some Makers. At the bottom, I pull out a Russell's Reserve single barrel pick. This is a Tyrone Warehouse B 9-year for $70. Again, really good price for a Russell's pick. Haven't tried this one, but we have some that we really, really enjoy, even from the Tyrone warehouses. Along with their store picks, we do have the standard Makers 46, the 101, Cask Strength, and a few of the other standard Four Roses bottle just mixed in there. And up all the way at the top, we have the Four Roses Tasting Kit for $120. Again, one of the better prices we've seen on that one. Moving to the back wall behind the counter, this is where they have kind of their museum territory. You see these in basically every liquor store, but here they have everything. They have Willet purple tops, green tops, BTAC bottles, every E.H. Taylor you'd want, Weller's, the new Russell's 15-year, 2XO Gem of Kentucky, just all kinds of stuff that we're honestly not that interested in, just knowing the price that comes with it. They did have a Found North Batch 9 that we heavily considered, but we decided to pass on. We think we're going to wait for more single barrel picks to drop to grab those from Found North. But again, if you need something super rare, they've got it here. We didn't ask about too many of the prices, but they do post most of these bottles on their website.
All right, we just got out of Corked liquor in Buena Park. Kind of interesting. It was blasting music, so you probably hear our voiceover, but yeah, just a little bit out of our price range.
Yeah, everything was just a little more expensive than what we're willing to pay. They did have a few single barrel picks that if we were fans of those single barrels, we would have gotten it, but maybe that's something for us to keep an eye out for. If they get a single barrel from a distillery that we really like, it might be good stopping by.
All right, that concludes the bourbon hunt. We ended up picking up a Devil's Tower Batch 1, so super excited about that. But we'll catch you guys later, and super excited to hear what you guys have been getting lately.
Yeah, thanks for watching, and catch us in more bourbon hunting videos soon.